Around 1 in 5 people in Britain live in social housing, and almost half are in housing association properties. On the front line for these organisations are the nation's housing officers.
That's where the gentleman died, and he was here for well over a week.
The housing officers have to deal with everyone from vulnerable tenants.
The eldest sister has literally only looked out the window for 2 years. So I'm a bit concerned about a reaction, if I'm honest.
To abusive neighbours.
I just can't take anymore.
She decides she's going to disobey the order of the court and do what she wants, then she'll have to pay the consequences.
Tenancy Enforcement Officer Alan Kibble works in Ashton-under-Lyne, east of Manchester. Alan's team look after over 14,000 housing association properties. And although the vast majority of residents are good tenants, a small minority cause problems for everyone else.
We're actually directly opposite the target premises now.
Nicola Riley is a housing association tenant whose abusive behaviour and constant partying has been causing problems on and off for years.
The target herself, she's got young children in the property and she's going out partying at night, leaving the young children with other teenagers. There's noise, there's music, they're running up and down the street. And she's been aggressive towards the main witness. When she's complained, she's actually threatened that she's going to torch her house and burn her house down, and threatened her and swore at her.
There have been numerous warnings about the bad behaviour at the house.
Apparently there were 3 people on a trampoline in the rear garden and the witness heard some different kinds of noise, shall we say, went to the rear window and witnessed sort of like a mini orgy taking place on this trampoline, and in her own words she said it made her feel absolutely sick. I mean, nobody should have to put up with something like that, but it's really, really distressing to her.
One of the witnesses is pensioner Maria, who lives next door.
Right, this is the spare back bedroom, but I've been staying in here because to get a bit of peace and quiet from the front. One morning, and I think it was about 4 o'clock, I thought, what on earth is that noise? A couple of girls screeching and laughing and one thing or another. And I left the light off and peeped through the side of the curtain. And there was 3 of them on the trampoline. It was like an orgy. They were having sex. I got such a shock. I had to get away from the curtain. I thought, this is ridiculous. I thought they only have these things in Amsterdam. So, you know, it's like I said, if I'd have had my grandkids there, it wouldn't have been very nice for them to see.
This morning, Alan's interviewing another resident, Michelle, who is prepared to speak out about the abuse she has been receiving from Nicola. Michelle's meeting Alan at a local police station.
They threatened to go through your house and do you and your kids over?
Yeah.
What do you think they meant by that?
They was going to kind of hurt me and my kids.
How old are your kids?
One's 4 and one's 5 months.
Right.
The threats to Michelle appear to stem from an argument about a small amount of money that Michelle says she knows nothing about.
You then started to get text messages off her, did you?
Yeah.
And what were they saying?
I'm taking the piss out of her. She's going to come and smash my face in and everything.
Have you got any text that's on your phone now that I can have a look at?
Yeah. And that's the first one I got.
Don't take the fucking piss. I was waiting all day with no fucking lecky. Want the cash, bringing to my house now. I'm well and truly already in a bad mood now, piss taker. But how many others have you had similar to that?
I'd say about, 20, 30.
20 or 30?
When I go home at night time, I just sort of like, just sit upstairs, with all my lights off in a way, because I think, well, just in case she comes round kicking off.
And how long have you been doing that?
About 2 weeks.
So basically what we've got then, to round it all up, she's been threatening you and threatening your children, sending people around to your house, and sent you somewhere in the excess of probably 30 texts, all threatening to cause physical violence towards you unless you pay this £30. Right. We, as a landlord, when we're talking about behaviour like this from our tenants, we're going to stamp on it as quickly as we can. I'd love to do it today, but unfortunately the court says that we have to have the evidence, so that we'll get that as quickly as we can and then take some action before something really serious happens.
In the Lancashire Hills, housing officer Sandra Proctor has been called to one of her flats to help solve the mystery of a tenant who has died without any obvious next of kin.
We can smell something. Unfortunately, when somebody's died, it does smell a bit like, shall we say, roast pork, something like that.
The tenant's body has already been moved to the local morgue. Now Sandra's job is to assess the state of the flat and arrange for the removal of any decomposing rubbish.
Oh dear, a lot of rubbish, a lot of rubbish, a lot of flies. I'm not sure where he was. I would say it was on here. There are a lot of stains here and there's a lot of flies here.
The body of the former tenant had lay undiscovered in the flat for over a week.
What looks like bottles filled with urine. People get to a stage where they either don't want to or can't or whatever get to the bathroom and filling a bottle, a milk bottle or any kind of bottle or a tin can, it's quite common. It's extremely sad, is this? It really, really is. Oh, grief. It looks like his whole kitchen. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, about half a dozen bags full of what looks like household rubbish as well. There's not a lot of food in. None of it seems to make much sense to me at the moment, but there's flies everywhere.
The flat was rented to John Harrison, who'd lived in the property for 16 years with his wife Brenda. In situations like this, when there are no obvious surviving family, the local council are called in to help search for any possible next of kin.
Hi, Granville, come on in, I do.
Granville from the Environmental Health Department will arrange a funeral if no family can be found.
I'm here now to look through the flat to see if there are any signs of any relatives, first and foremost.
Right.
And if we can't find any relatives, then just try to recover some of the costs for the local authority of the funeral.
So nobody goes to a funeral? Is he just on his own?
He'll probably remain on his own until he's buried. It's usually, actually, we take the cheapest option. It's very sad.
It is. His wife died in April. So would you put him near his wife or would he just be anywhere?
He will go where it's cheapest to put him.
Right, OK.
It's all down to cost, I'm afraid.
It is, isn't it?
If there are no next of kin or valuables found in the property to pay for a decent funeral, John Harrison may become one of the hundreds of people each year given a pauper's funeral and buried in a plain wood coffin.
This poor gentleman's been dead for over a week now. Obviously, he's not got a lot. He's not coped very well. And it would be really, really nice if we could find some family that could at least arrange a decent funeral for him. That's the very least I think this gentleman deserves.
In Ashton, there has been no let-up in Nicola Riley's antisocial behaviour. Life for Maria next door is unbearable.
I'm not myself what I used to be. Happy, bubbly. I can't be. My nerves are really... I'm shaking all the time. As soon as they've had a fight, it was me that copped it. Banging on the wall. Can you hear that, you bastard? It stopped my grandkids coming here. My sisters don't come and visit me anymore because we've tried talking and she's been mouthing it. My sisters even said, I wouldn't put up with that. I've had enough now. I'm at the end of it. I just can't take any more.
Alan is going to install covert surveillance cameras in Maria's home that will record any of Nicola's partying or abusive behaviour.
We're just setting up now this camera in a box of gubbins here, which will cover the front of the property. Quite a good camera, these. They're a digital day-night camera, which basically means that there'll be colour in the hours of daylight. It's a good picture, it's a digital camera, and as soon as darkness falls, it uses all the light that's available and changes to monochrome black and white.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
Need to go down a bit. What are you looking to pick up?
The trampoline and the biggest part of the garden as we can.
Yes, mate, leave it there.
It's covering the offending trampoline area. So if we get a repeat of what we had the other week, it should pick it up. Which will make interesting viewing, to say the least.
The face of social housing has changed radically in Britain. Almost half of all the traditional council housing has been transferred into the hands of a new breed of non-profit-making housing association. In the small Pennine town of Mosley, most of the old council housing is now owned by one housing association. Here, two elderly sisters have become virtual prisoners in their first-floor flat, unable to manage the outside stairs. Housing officer Sarah Chilton and lettings officer Janet Barnes have been called in by social services who are concerned about the sisters' future.
Hello, it's Sarah Chilton from New Charter and Janet Barnes. Do you mind me asking who's who? Who's Marjorie and who's Doris? You're Marjorie and you're Doris, right, OK.
You want to stay in Mosley, the area that you know?
Yeah.
How long have you lived in Mosley prior to this?
All my life.
All your life?
93. I'm 93.
Right, so you've probably seen some changes then in Mosley, have you?
Yeah. A lot, really.
And have you lived together all your life?
Yeah.
Right, OK.
Marjorie and Doris are on the waiting list for a ground floor flat. They are cared for by younger sister Muriel, who's 81.
We've called today just to come and check that everything's all right, basically. I'm aware that your sister... do you come on a daily basis, more or less, to...
Yes, I do.
You do?
Because Marjorie hasn't been out for 2 years.
Right.
She can't get down the step.
14 concrete steps have made the outside world completely inaccessible to Marjorie.
Well, it's getting down, you know. I thought, oh, I can't get down because I might not get up again.
She's been marooned in the flat.
The sisters have lived together since birth and have always shared the same bed.
They actually share a double bed at the minute?
Yeah. Yes, they always have done, you see. So
well, yeah, I mean, if you lived together all your life, then you probably would do, wouldn't you?
Yeah, what?
You've probably done it since being children, have they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were looking really at a ground floor flat, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right, in the top Mosley area?
Yeah.
Right, OK. It's not been too bad, has it? Us coming today?
Thank you.
Right, OK.
They've always been together, really. Then they've gone on holiday together and they worked at the same place, actually. They worked in the mill, in the cotton mill.
We've always been together because none of us have been married.
They seemed a bit concerned as to why we was coming. It's probably because they've lived together for so long and they're probably frightened that we're going to try and split them up or move them, you know, when they don't want to. But the areas they're asking for are really desirable areas, so it could be a while before something comes up.
If the right property can't be found, the sisters could be separated and moved into solo sheltered accommodation.
There's always been a lot in the paper about couples having to be separated, you know. So, I mean, if it comes to it and they can't take you both, well, that'll be it.
In Ashton, Alan's case against Nicola Riley is progressing. His legal team have been awarded a court injunction to stop her bad behaviour, and today Alan is planning to serve it.
We're on the way now back to the target property. Our solicitor's been in court, successfully obtained an injunction with the power of arrest.
The injunction is extensive and, amongst other things, forbids Nicola from playing loud music, threatening neighbours or being abusive in public.
So what we actually physically do now is to hand it to her. You actually physically have to hand the injunction to the individual. And they have to physically touch it from our point of view. And once the physical contact has been made with that piece of paper, then in the eyes of the law, that's deemed served. We could have people running around the front room trying not to touch it or, you know, trying to dodge it. Because, of course, it's got a power of arrest with it. It's a very, very powerful document.
Alan is hoping that Nicola will be at home so he can issue the injunction.
Hiya, do you want me in? Hiya, Nicola. Yeah, I'm from New Charter, love. I've got these papers that you better read because there's been an injunction taken out against you.
Well, the accountant's in.
OK, then, I'll leave it with you to talk to her. OK, cheers. Paper served. She's a bit upset. Mum said she's not surprised that it's come to this. She said she needs to grow up, she needs to behave herself. You know, Mum actually said to her, this is it, it's your last warning now. And so I just reiterated the terms of the injunction with her, told her what she must do and what she must not do. That's it, job done. She's been served now. It's up to her now, what she does.
If Nicola steps out of line, she will be arrested and she could receive a prison sentence. In Lancashire, they have stepped up the hunt for the late John Harrison's next of kin. Housing manager Patrick Collins is helping in this search.
His wife was Brenda Harrison. No, you don't know him at all. All right. Thanks very much for your trouble. Bye now. The coroner's, what the Environmental Health Service at Pendlebury Council are telling me is that there's no next of kin. That's the message we got. I'm a good Catholic boy. I come from a massive family of cousins and aunties and uncles all over the world, all over the place. I find it astounding that somebody's got nobody.
Patrick is going over to the flat to supervise the search with Sandra and a specialist cleaning team, who have been called in to sift through John's belongings.
Right, lads, obviously somebody's died in his property. We need to treat it with respect, you always do. Same as normal. We're looking for any documents that could certainly direct us to next of kin, very useful. Any documents, any valuables, money to one side. All right?
Just concentrate on bin bags and shite, definitely shite, and you were all right there.
They already know that John Harrison has no children, but they are looking for any other next of kin or some valuables that could help cover the cost of the funeral.
John and Brenda, September 1971. Bit of knitting. I'm glad I never had that jumper.
As they work their way through the flat, the housing officers are trying to piece together John Harrison's life.
Death certificates and marriage certificates.
OK, put them in that bag.
Looks like he was a member of the Salvation Army because the uniform's in there, so that might be useful.
There's pictures of him over here. I'm guessing they're for an ID purpose. And this one's really interesting because it's with him in his Salvation Army uniform. We'll no doubt contact the Salvation Army.
Sandra is hoping neighbour Colin may know more about the Salvation Army connection.
Hiya, Colin, can I come in?
Oh, of course you can. Hello there.
Did you know much about him?
Yeah, he was in the Salvation Army for quite some time. Both him and his wife were.
Right.
I think she died towards the end of April, and John took it pretty bad as far as I know, and he went downhill fast. In fact, he went downhill so fast, when you saw him out, you thought he was virtually going to drop down in front of you. I had spoken to him on a couple of occasions when I found him crying on the car park after the loss of his wife.
At the very least, the gentleman deserves a decent funeral with a few of his family there.
Well, that's right. I think the problem, he kept himself so much to himself. There were times when people knocked on the door, which could well have been relatives, but he never opened it. He would never, very rarely answer the door.
As the search continues in the packed flat, Patrick is discovering more and more about John Harrison's life.
There's loads and loads of toys. Anything you find like this you really need to look at because the valuables...
There's a bedroom up there that's got loads more of this stuff in.
Are you serious? Oh no, not more toys.
Hello?
Hello, Sandra?
Welcome to Aladdin's.
Have you found anything there? Oh, look at that.
He was so careful. Toilet paper on the back so he didn't scratch him, and look at this, but there's boxes of exactly the same sort of thing. That weighs on, does that?
Is that?
Silver Ghost, 1925. I mean, they're precision made, aren't they? I mean, I've never come in a property that's got so many toys, even though they're collector's toys, and there's no kids around to have played with them at any point. I just found that really sad.
Back downstairs in the sitting room, there's another discovery.
No. Strange.
The money bag. Always happy when we found the money bag. I'm going to say there's 800 quid there. It sounds ridiculous, they almost weigh the same as if he's been counted out. 6, one split down there, 7, 8. I'm going to say there's... You're near 8 than 5. I can't believe it, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
The discovery of the money means there's now enough funds to pay for a decent funeral. But the housing team are still hoping to find some trace of family or friends so John Harrison won't be buried alone. Patrick is hoping the Salvation Army will hold the key.
These will be the contacts we're looking for. The reason I'm doing this with my foot, because unfortunately the gentleman died round here. Now that's very interesting, because I've seen her mentioned over here, which I'm guessing is to do with the Salvation Army. It's as opportune a time as ever to ring it really, and let's see if these people know there's any next of kin, Salvation Army.
In Mosley, housing officer Sarah Chilton has just heard that a rare ground floor flat has become available near the elderly sisters.
These properties are like gold dust, basically. They hardly ever come empty. A really desirable place to live.
Thank you.
This is Gordon, he's the property inspector.
Yes,
all right, this is Mr McGrady. I think this would be ideal, in all honesty. I can just see them, the two sisters, and I can just imagine them sat there in the two chairs next to each other, watching the telly. I just think it'd be ideal. But it's ground floor, 1 bedroom. It's been improved really well. They wouldn't have to do anything to it. There's a ramped access at the front. You don't get much better than this farm, really. So, I just think it's a really unusual situation. It's the first one I've ever come across in 10 years of doing this job that you've got two sisters who have lived together from birth and share the same bed, and they're just obviously really, really close, and it's really nice.
But there's no guarantee the two sisters will get the ground floor property. They'll have to apply for it like anyone else, and the most deserving case will get the flat.
I've come back today because I think potentially we've found somewhere that would be suitable for you, and it's a ground floor, 1 bed property. Let me show you what, if I can just, I don't know how I can best show you. I'll show you first and then I'll show you, is that all right? This is the lounge, yes, so they've got a similar setup to you now.
Yes, very good. What do you say?
The only thing is getting it up.
Getting what?
Already.
Don't worry about that. I mean, like I said, I can't guarantee that you would come to the top of the list until the bidding closes, so, yeah, don't start packing just yet, will you? Because I don't actually know yet.
Sounds very hopeful.
We haven't got it yet, have we?
No, that's it, isn't it?
That's it, you see, you've got to bid for it, you've got to wait now.
We're jumping the gun, aren't we? We're thinking we could have one and got it, but...
They don't count your chickens till they're hatched.
As soon as we know, then we can let you know then. Right, we'll leave you in peace.
In Lancashire, the late John Harrison's flat is nearly empty, and there is still no sign of family or friends. Patrick has moved all of John's model collection to the basement of his offices, as he thinks John's model cars may be worth something.
Hey, Arthur.
Hello there.
You okay?
You very
Thanks for
well.
coming up.
Local toy expert Arthur Garnett has come to value John's toy collection, which any relatives could inherit.
A regular customer of mine.
How often will he come?
Oh, maybe once a fortnight.
So let's have a quick count off. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. There's 35, 40 boxes looking around here.
Yeah, 40 boxes. I would say you're talking about maybe £7,000 or £8,000.
Okay. Yeah. I really need an extra kin, don't I? And say, yeah, there's a few bob here for you in these boxes. I'm really hoping we find some next to kin.
Well,
somewhere.
that's right.
Patrick's last hope of finding any relatives was the Salvation Army. But now they too have confirmed that they have no records of any surviving family.
It really does show a blank, as if there really is no next to kin. Which is... or even any friends. I don't, you know, just nobody.
Still keen for someone to go to John's funeral, Patrick makes one last call.
Hello, I wonder if you could help me. Your number's shown up on a BT phone bill for a guy called John Harrison. He has died. Oh, OK, that's the... yeah, because obviously very into Salvation Army, certainly. I'm almost ecstatic when I put this phone down, so thanks very much. Thank you. Bye now. Fantastic. The ladies from the Salvation Army, and I think there's a few of them going to the funeral, which will be, well, just great that somebody's actually going to that funeral.
In Ashton, it's been a couple of months since Nicola Riley was issued with an injunction, and there has been another incident.
Oh, we can hear somebody screaming.
The whole episode has been caught on Alan's covert camera and took place at tea time on a Friday night.
Well, that's the defendant there with a friend. I mean, straight away she's shouting fucking bastard something. It looks like they've got bottles of drink with them they've just put on the pavement. They're shouting, they're using abusive language. They're obviously drunk, in my opinion, which is consistent with what the witness said. They're now lying on the floor. She just shouted, then it's weekend, let's party, and looked up at the witness's house as though she's making a statement to it's weekend, now we're going to party. So as well as behaving like we can only be described as an animal on the street outside, she's actually gesticulating up towards where the witness lives, shouting obscenities towards them. This individual knows that there's a court order in place saying what she can and she can't do, and it specifically says that you will not behave in that manner. I mean, she just sat on top of her there. I mean, a minute ago they were just simulating having... In fact, they're simulating having sex again. I would imagine that if we have to play this to the court, I don't think the judge is going to be very impressed when he's told her that she can't do this. It's just... it's just unbelievable.
The evidence from the covert camera shows a clear breach of the tenant's injunction. This morning, Alan is meeting with the police to discuss the case and the new covert camera footage.
It's people laughing, shouting, swearing in the house, louder than inconsiderate behaviour.
We've got the documentary evidence from the CCTV on the file. We've got these two additional statements. Well, I feel on the viewing of the CCTV evidence, the statements that we've obtained so far, we want evidentially to progress with the arresting her. We'll see what kind of reception we get.
Right.
No problem.
This particular individual has been warned, has been written to, has been threatened, has been cautioned, has had an injunction served on them, and they still continue to behave in that manner and subject people who are just trying to live normal lives to horrendous types of behaviour. The courts are there to make an order, and if she decides she's going to disobey the order of the court and do what she wants, then she'll have to pay the consequences.
With a clear breach of her injunction, Nicola is going to be arrested.
Oh, she's at the front bedroom window. She's at the front bedroom window, Steve. Yeah.
Right, I'll lock this. Can I get the keys back?
Yeah, I'll get the keys.
Is it miles away now? We've got a bigger white van.
Eh? I'm very pleased for the people who are living close by here, because they will now get some peace and quiet, and probably for the first night in a few weeks there's quite a few people that can actually put their heads down and hopefully have a decent night's sleep.
Yeah, I've got to sort that way. It's booked his property. All right.
But you don't rub your hands with glee when something like that happens. It's a shame it's had to come to that.
The applications have now been processed for the ground floor flat in Mosley, and the results have been posted to the two sisters.
Marjorie.
Ground floor flats in the area they want only come up on average every 2 years.
Didn't sleep last night.
I didn't sleep either.
Right, to inform you, they are in a position to offer you the property.
So there you are.
So?
That's good news. Very good news, because we've been waiting so long. Do they both have to sign?
We both have to sign, because it's...
Two of you?
It's a joint tenancy.
I think we get this back right away. As soon as possible.
Today, Nicola Riley is appearing in court.
Potential that today is to have a full trial where the witnesses will actually have to give their evidence and will be potentially cross-examined by the defence barrister. So quite a traumatic day for Maria, because I don't think she's ever been in court before. And although we try to, you know, make her feel at ease and as relaxed as we possibly can, I think it's uncomfortable for anybody to have to go to court and give evidence. But this is what it's had to come to try and get the situation resolved.
Alan is calling on Maria and her lodger to take them to court.
Hello. How are you this cold morning?
My stomach.
Eh?
My stomach.
Is it?
It's doing somersaults. Oh, my nerves are a wreck, I tell you.
Well, it's going to be resolved today, one way or another. I'm still not convinced 100% that you have to go in the box and give your evidence. You know, I've always said that, and we'll just see what happens today. We'll go through everything when you get down there. You get a chance to read your statements again, so everything's fresh in your mind.
Right, I've got my purse, I've got my... Right.
It's a big day for the sisters from Mosley.
I was still awake at 3 o'clock, and then I was awake again at 5:15. Yeah, I'm getting excited now. It's like when you can't sleep before you go on holiday. Just bring it on now. Oh, I look see you. I look see you.
All right.
I know the removal to here. 5 to 9.
Is it?
Yep.
I want my shoes on, and then you can move a bit.
Never been on, have they?
Of course they have.
Oh, have they?
The removals company will move everything but Marjorie and Doris. That's Sarah's job.
The eldest sister has literally only looked out the window for 2 years. So she's not even been out in the fresh air for 2 years, so I'm a bit concerned about her reaction, if I'm honest. Morning, ladies, you all right? It's exciting, isn't it? I've brought this chair. It acts like, I'm going to frighten you now, it's like a bit like a ski board, if you like, but it's not like that. It just means that you don't actually have to walk down the steps if you don't want to. You can sit in this chair. It's a bit like the Big Dipper at Blackpool, to be honest. No, it's not really. It's not really. It's like the Big Dipper at Blackpool. It's not. It's not like that. I just want to see how she feels. If she's scared by it or she don't even want to try it, then I don't want to push it at all. Do you need this to get to the front door? I'll just shove that in the last pass. Sorry.
Okay, are you all right, sweetheart?
Right, I'm going to bring you back onto the wheels now.
Yeah. Oh, onto that.
I'm just going to push you over the top slightly so you'll feel a little bit of a bump, but nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
All right?
There.
Right, we're nearly there.
That's the hardest bit, that's it. That's the hardest,
bit over with. Right, I'm going to ease you down onto the staircase now. Just that one
There you
bump.
go, that's it. Yeah. We're done.
And then we're nice smooth right down.
It's just like a lift now. That's it. It's pretty easy, isn't it?
Do you want to go faster?
Eleanor, put those boots back on. Kick the heels. This is the first time Marjorie has been outside for over 2 years.
Said that none of the incidents were trivial in nature, and that it was a gross disregard for orders of the court. And when he sentenced her to receive 9 months imprisonment, she could serve probably a minimum of 6 months and then be released on licence.
I'm very pleased with what happened today.
I'm just glad it's all over and done with, because I can finally go back home now with my kids, and the kids can have their own back.
As a final act, the tenant handed her 3-bed house back to the association.
The ripples on the pond go out when things like this happen, and people do actually think that I better not do that because I might go to prison. Whereas in the past, people have thought, well, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to get my hand slapped, I'm going to be told off. New Charter are going to write me a letter, you know, but at the end of the day, I'll carry on doing it because really nothing's going to happen. Well, times have changed. People need to realise that.
In Lancashire, it's the late John Harrison's funeral.
Quite a sad occasion because he's on his own, hasn't got anybody, but because we found some money, at least we've been able to arrange a decent funeral for him, or the Salvation Army have. But there's nobody left as far as we know. The end of everything, I suppose.
In the end, a small gathering attended, and the Salvation Army gave John a fitting farewell. John's ashes were scattered over his wife's grave.
We don't get these every day, but the process is still the same from now on. Make the property habitable, find somebody that will go in, somebody that's suitable, somebody that will be happy there, that will fit into the community that's already there, and full circle.
So this is your hallway.
And the sisters are in their new flat.
I'm going to edge you backwards now. Oh, we did it. Yeah, doesn't look any different, does it? We managed to get everything in, but it might not be in the same
way. No,
way.
that's very nice.
Yeah. But you actually feel lower than a first floor flat.
Yes, it does.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, you have a nice night.
Very well.